Hi, I'm Jeff Hastings with BC Hydro, and welcome to the Site C Project Worker Orientation session. Everyone working on this project needs to attend this orientation before gaining access to the project and starting work. In addition to this session, you'll also need to attend an orientation from the prime contractor on site and your direct employer. These orientations are important and will help you understand how to do your work on the project. Today I'm going to give you a high-level introduction to BC Hydro and the Site C project and share how our commitments to Indigenous groups' safety and the environment play an important role in every part of your work. At the end of the session, we hope you'll understand these commitments and what's required of you when you work on Site C and with BC Hydro. So let's get started.
Hi, I'm Chris O'Reilly, President and Chief Operating Officer at BC Hydro. BC Hydro provides a critical service. Our mission is to safely provide our customers with reliable, affordable, clean electricity throughout BC. Our large and complex system serves 95% of the province's population. That's 4 million customers. Today, we're undertaking significant work to upgrade and expand our system. We're investing more than $2 billion per year in major capital infrastructure projects to help meet the growing demand for safe, reliable, clean power. This involves upgrading transmission lines, building new substations, and investing in our hydroelectric plants, and of course, our Site C project. Our efforts build on a historic legacy of work by previous generations of BC Hydro employees and our contract workforce. Why are we doing this? It's all part of safely and reliably serving our 4 million customers. At BC Hydro, safety is everyone's responsibility. Our goal is always zero injuries. We want everyone to go home safely to their loved ones each day, and that includes every one of you. This only works if we all accept this responsibility. I'm asking you for your help in making sure we deliver on this priority. We have a big job to do. To be successful, we need the right team of people. Thank you for choosing to work with us. Thank you for putting safety first. Welcome to the team.
Hi, I'm Ken McKenzie, Executive Vice President of BC Hydro's Site C project, a dam and hydroelectric generating station on the Peace River in northeastern BC. Construction of the project started in July 2015, and once complete, in 2024, Site C will be a source of clean, renewable, and cost-effective electricity in BC for more than 100 years. I'd personally like to welcome you to the Site C project and thank you for including Site C in your career plans. Today, you'll be learning more about Site C and how it fits into BC Hydro's vast electricity system. You'll also be learning about the project's commitment to the environment, to communities, and to Indigenous groups. And of course, most importantly, you'll learn about BC Hydro and our contractors' safety commitments and goals. You play an important role in ensuring that everyone goes home safe every single day. I hope you find this orientation session informative and useful. Site C will build on our province's hydroelectric legacy, contributing to the economic prosperity and quality of life for generations to come. I know I'm proud to work on this project, and I hope you feel the same way. Thank you for your attention today. I wish you the best of luck for a safe and rewarding career working on the Site C project.
The Site C Clean Energy Project will be the third dam and hydroelectric generating station on the Peace River, about 7 kilometers southwest of Fort St. John. Located downstream from BC Hydro's 2 existing hydroelectric facilities, Site C will use water already stored behind the Bennett Dam to produce 35% of the power, with a reservoir 5% of the size. In addition to activities at or near the dam site, Site C will include a 77-kilometer transmission line, the realignment of up to 30 kilometers of highway, and shoreline protection measures at Hudson's Hope. Site C will provide 1,100 megawatts of capacity and about 5,100 gigawatt hours of energy each year, helping to meet BC's growing electricity needs. The project is designed in accordance with international and Canadian safety practices and to the recommendations of the Canadian Dam Association. It meets current seismic, safety, and environmental guidelines. Construction of Site C is scheduled to begin in summer 2015, with project completion in 2024. Construction activities will start with the clearing of the dam site area and the construction of access roads. Worker accommodation will be built to house an average of 800 people in each year of construction, with a peak of 1,700. The first step in the construction of the main dam is to build cofferdams on the north and south banks to confine the river to its main channel. This allows for construction activities to begin behind the cofferdams on each side. Work will then begin on 2 diversion tunnels, which will eventually divert the river around the dam site to allow for construction in the main river channel. A temporary bridge will be built for early construction access across the river. The steep north bank above the dam site will be flattened and stabilized over a period of about 5 years. Following completion of the South Bank cofferdam, work will begin on a large concrete buttress that will support the valley wall and provide a foundation for the generating station and spillways, improving stability and providing seismic protection. Construction of the north and south portions of the Earthfill Dam will then begin, as will construction of the powerhouse atop the completed segment of the concrete buttress. The diversion tunnels will then be opened to provide a path for continuous water flows downstream around the dam site. Work will then begin on larger upstream and downstream cofferdams that will redirect the river through the completed diversion tunnels, allowing a dry construction area to build the central portion of the Earthfill Dam. A substation for Site C will be constructed, and 2 new 500 kilovolt transmission lines will connect to the existing Peace Canyon substation. Work on the Earthfill Dam will continue in parallel with the beginning of spillway construction, an important safety feature that allows the passage of large volumes of water from the reservoir into the river channel downstream. Construction of the approach channel, which carries water from the reservoir to the power intakes and spillway, will also begin. Work on the power intakes and penstocks will continue, and installation of the turbines and generators will begin. Construction of an auxiliary spillway will then be undertaken, which allows water to pass safely in the unlikely event of power loss. With the Earthfill Dam, power intakes and spillways complete, and following the clearing of the reservoir area, the reservoir will be filled over a period of approximately 3 months. It will be, on average, 2 to 3 times the width of the current river. The first turbine and generator will then be connected to the substation and will start producing electricity, with the remaining 5 units coming into service in the following year, completing the Site C project. With its long life of over 100 years, Site C will provide clean, reliable, and cost-effective electricity for generations to come. To learn more, visit sitecproject.com.
The next portion of your orientation focuses on BC Hydro's efforts towards reconciliation with Indigenous people. This is an area of particular importance to me and a particular relevance to the work you will be doing for BC Hydro. Before we get into the details, I'd like to set some context. Site C will be the 3rd hydroelectric facility on the Peace River. The WAC Bennett Dam was the first. The Bennett Dam was an engineering marvel when it was constructed in the 1960s. It's still recognized around the world for its design and construction. But there is more to the story of the Bennett Dam. All the benefits we receive from that dam today, clean, reliable power at low cost, don't take away the impact the reservoir and the structures had on the land and the animals and people who lived on it. Pictures of the dam don't show us the impacts to the Indigenous people who drew sustenance from the forests and waters and who traveled by boat to trade and connect with families and communities up and down the Peace River. They don't tell us about the people who had to move their homes and communities because the river flooded their villages and disrupted their transportation routes. 50 years ago, there were many people who didn't factor in these impacts, including BC Hydro, the government of the day, and the larger society which stood to benefit from the source of power. And it took many years for those of us who work at BC Hydro to truly understand the dam's adverse impacts. So while we remain proud of our hydroelectric history and we continue to be thankful for the prosperity it has brought to our province, we need to acknowledge the parts of our history that we can't be proud of. This acknowledgement is an important step in reconciliation. The Site C project will undoubtedly be an important part of the history of our province, providing benefits for generations to come, and you will be part of that legacy. But I need you to remember, this project is not without impacts, and those impacts are felt heavily here in the Peace region. As you learn more about our work with Indigenous people, I encourage you to understand and embrace our approach to improving relationships with Indigenous communities. Thank you for helping us in our journey towards reconciliation.
Like the rest of BC Hydro's generation and transmission infrastructure, the Site C project is located on Indigenous land, specifically within the boundaries of Treaty 8. We have been engaging with Indigenous groups about Site C since 2007, and offers of accommodation have been made to all the Indigenous groups significantly affected by the project. In addition, Site C business opportunities have been committed to Indigenous companies, and hundreds of local Indigenous workers will be employed on the project throughout construction. Our approach includes building relationships with First Nations communities, engaging and consulting with them about the project, finding ways to support local economic development and employment, and building a workplace culture that is diverse and inclusive. This isn't just a Site C approach, it's something we are committed to company-wide. BC Hydro has developed 10 principles to guide how we work with all First Nations communities in BC. We refer to these as our Statement of Indigenous Principles. The 10 principles commit us to increased transparency, partnership, and engagement with Indigenous people. They move us toward a model that promotes ongoing engagement on the path to reconciliation, and they reinforce behaviors that help us to conduct our business in meaningful ways. We are sincere in our commitment to ensure these principles are understood and acted upon by everyone in our organization, including contractors. The next section of your orientation focuses on something of paramount importance to BC Hydro: safety. BC Hydro has a very clear safety commitment to ensure that everyone goes home safe every day. We expect you to work safely, perform only the work you are trained and permitted to do, follow the safe work procedures for your work, report hazards and correct unsafe conditions, and refuse unsafe work. This applies to everyone, our employees, our contractors, and the public. To achieve our commitment, BC Hydro has a vision of zero injuries. No one ever intends to get hurt at work, so make sure you only complete work that has been properly planned. We are committed to integrating safety into all we do, and we strive to provide the safest work environment compared to the best performers in any industry. To achieve these goals and maintain a safe and secure workplace at Site C, everyone has a role to play. This includes having the courage to intervene. If you feel unsafe with the work you are doing, stop the work and tell someone. If you think someone else is in danger, speak up, stop the work, and intervene. Let them know you said something because you care about their safety. Under provincial occupational health and safety regulation, you have 3 safety rights. 1. You have the right to refuse unsafe work. If you feel something about your work is unsafe, stop immediately and report it to your supervisor. 2, you have the right to know about the hazards that you might be exposed to in your work. And 3, you have the right to participate in training and occupational health and safety programs. To protect the lives of workers, BC Hydro has developed 9 life-saving rules. These rules focus on high-risk work activities that carry the greatest threat of serious injury or death. At all BC Hydro sites, everyone must follow the life-saving rules. If you can't complete a job without breaking one of the rules, you must stop work and advise your supervisor immediately. The rules are: maintain your limits of approach when near energized electrical equipment. Ensure there is a safety protection guarantee or lockout in place and check that it is appropriate for your work. Test for hazardous energy. Ensure that worker protection grounding or bonding is applied. Protect yourself from falling when working at height. Maintain a safe atmosphere in a confined space and ensure you can be rescued. Prevent harmful exposure to known carcinogens, toxins, and biohazards. At Site C, this includes silica dust. Don't work while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And finally, adjust your driving to the weather and road conditions. The Site C project is large, with different prime contractors responsible for different safety areas. Before you enter any safety area, you need permission from the prime contractor responsible for that area. The prime contractor will let you know about any worksite-specific hazards before giving permission to enter. When it comes to the Site C project site, BC Hydro and its prime contractors have different safety responsibilities. BC Hydro is required to maintain a safe workplace and provide information to our contractors about workplace hazards and controls. Prime contractors are required to coordinate the occupational health and safety activities of all employers, workers, and anyone else in their worksite. They must also establish and maintain procedures to ensure workplace health and safety requirements are followed by everyone. All workers will receive additional orientation from prime contractors, where more information will be provided on their safety obligations. Everyone working on Site C has responsibilities related to health and safety. As a worker, you play an important role in making sure you and your coworkers stay healthy and safe on the job. You're required to take reasonable care of yourself and others, follow safe work procedures, report any unsafe acts or conditions, and only do work you're trained to do. Please take a moment to consider your responsibilities, as well as the responsibilities of your supervisor and employer. You must attend your relevant prime contractor's orientation and adhere to their safety requirements. You must wear the minimum personal protective equipment required for entrance to the project site, appropriate safety footwear, high visibility vest or clothing, eye protection, and a hard hat. When in high noise areas, you must also wear hearing protection. Additional PPE may be required depending on your employer, the work you're doing, and the area where you are working. When on site, please respect all barriers and signage. This project uses barriers for both safety and to point out areas that are private property or environmentally sensitive. BC Hydro has developed the Site C Project Absolutes, a set of requirements related to behavior when working or accessing any of the Site C project areas. These rules apply to everyone on site, including management staff, contractors, and visitors. Breaking site absolutes may result in immediate removal from site and could mean temporary or permanent revocation of site access privileges. The site absolutes are posted at the entrance to the site and available on the back of your site access card. We expect you to know and follow these absolutes at all times. Let's go over the project's site absolutes in detail. Vandalism is not permitted. Weapons and dangerous goods are prohibited, including within personal vehicles. This includes the possession of knives where the blade is longer than 3 inches and not approved as part of normal work duties. We will not tolerate any bullying or harassment. BC Hydro works to promote respectful workplace behavior at Site C and all our work sites. Smoking is only allowed in designated smoking areas, and please dispose of cigarette waste in the appropriate containers. Do not misuse or tamper with security, emergency, and rescue equipment. Theft of any kind will be reported to the police. And finally, drugs that are not specifically prescribed for you are not tolerated anywhere on site. Alcohol is also prohibited except in the Rivers Bend Lounge in Two Rivers Lodge. In addition to prohibiting alcohol and drugs on site, workers are expected to come to work fit for duty and not under the influence of alcohol or drugs or the after effects of alcohol or drugs. We require our contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers to have and enforce a drug and alcohol policy and testing program. This includes pre-qualification or pre-employment testing, post-incident testing, reasonable cause testing, and follow-up testing as part of a return to work or rehabilitation program. In order to prevent illicit drugs, alcohol, and other contraband from entering Site C work areas, we have an inspection and search process on the project. All vehicles and personal property entering the dam site and any other Site C work area are subject to inspection and possible search. Drug dogs may be used when conducting searches. Searches of personal property or space will not be conducted without your consent. While you can refuse an inspection or search, this may result in your site access privileges being permanently revoked. Site C is very big with a large and diverse workforce, and BC Hydro is committed to ensuring that everyone feels welcome here. We expect everyone to work cohesively and respectfully with one another throughout the duration of the project. This is necessary to help us ensure a safe and productive environment that is inclusive and respectful of workers from diverse backgrounds and experiences. We have workers from various union and union affiliations as well as non-union backgrounds working together to build Site C. We would like to remind you to be respectful, as all workers have skills and experience that contribute to the building of Site C. Before BC Hydro received approval to build Site C, we had to undergo an independent, multi-year environmental assessment process. Site C received environmental approval from the federal and provincial governments in 2014. The environmental approval of Site C comes with approximately 150 federal and provincial conditions in addition to sub-conditions and conditions related to our permits and authorizations. All of these conditions must be met at all times. On the project site, there are conditions related to minimizing the impacts on wildlife, vegetation, and fish habitat, minimizing impacts on residents and community services, so we need to manage things like noise, light, dust, and traffic, and avoiding sensitive wildlife, heritage, and indigenous areas. We need your help to make sure that consideration of the environment is part of everything you do. Everyone working on site is responsible for doing their work in compliance with all environmental requirements. Our priority areas are chemical spill prevention and response. Please talk with your supervisor to ensure you are proactive and prepared. Wildlife awareness and avoidance. Please be aware of the wildlife around you and avoid interactions with them. Preventing the spread of noxious weeds. If you drive into areas with vegetation or undisturbed soils, you must know the rules for washing and inspecting your vehicle. Proper water and soil management. Controlling the movement of water within the site is critical to ensuring fish-bearing streams and rivers remain suitable for fish. This includes preventing soils from entering streams. Talk to your supervisor if you deal with ditches, culverts, catch basins, or other features to ensure you are meeting requirements. And protecting archaeological sites, wetlands, and other restricted areas. Stay out of areas identified by fencing, tape, stakes, or other markers, and know what these markings mean. If in doubt, ask. Finally, proper garbage disposal is critical to keeping the worksite clean and safe. Please do not litter. Separate your garbage to ensure it goes in the proper container, and ensure all animal-proof lids are closed and sealed. Many of these conditions are quite detailed. What you need to know is that they are important and everyone has a role to play. We ask that you be curious about how your job intersects with these conditions and seek out more information about our commitments. The Two Rivers Lodge is a 1,600-room worker accommodation facility designed to become your home away from home. Providing innovative, high-quality accommodation for workers is a key component of the project's ability to attract and retain a skilled workforce. To make everyone stay safe and pleasant, a code of conduct has been developed that will be provided to you either before or when you check into the lodge. The Code of Conduct applies to every person visiting or staying at the lodge and will be enforced at all times. Failure to follow these rules may result in eviction from the camp. Two Rivers Lodge has a health clinic that provides health services to the Site C workforce. The clinic is similar to a walk-in clinic and gives workers access to primary and preventative health care and work-related injury evaluation and treatment services. The clinic is open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It will be open 12 hours a day during low workforce periods. Clinic staff includes nurse practitioners, advanced care paramedics, and registered nurses, supported by an off-site medical director. Site C is a large project and we strive to be a good neighbor. To do so, we must be aware and respectful of the people who live and work in the vicinity of our work areas. Please be respectful of private property and property lines. Do not access any land outside of the project's work sites. If you receive questions from nearby property owners, please direct them to your supervisor. When you're out in public, we ask you to be respectful when you're talking about the project. We want you to be proud of the work you are doing, but we also must be considerate of residents and members of the public who may not support the project. If you do speak with members of the public, please be respectful. Do not engage in debates or discussions about the project or its merits. And remember, if you receive questions, please direct them to your supervisor. There are situations where members of the public may accidentally or intentionally access the project area. If this occurs, immediately stop work and ensure public and worker safety. Please use whatever method of communication you have to call your supervisor, who will inform Site C security. You may also interact with the public while traveling on public roads. Please be aware that you are expected to follow applicable laws with regards to speeding and distracted driving. BC Hydro's security team works with the RCMP to enforce these laws. From time to time, BC Hydro encounters public protests and opposition to the Site C project. BC Hydro respects the right of all individuals to peacefully protest and express their opinions about Site C in a safe and lawful manner. If you are confronted by protesters, please be respectful and act professionally. Inform your supervisor and Site C security immediately. And that concludes today's Site C worker orientation session with BC Hydro. Thank you for your attention. The information you learned today is important as you start and continue your work on the Site C project. You should now know about our company, Site C, our commitments to safety, environmental protection, working with Indigenous groups, and working together as an inclusive, respectful team. Thank you for choosing to work with us. Together we have a big job to do. Good luck in your career in the Site C project.